Yeah, I don't know.
But like in terms of lasting changes and shit, I have no idea. I don't know. None of the like anti-Holocaust stuff that doesn't none of that gives you pause for concern or anything.
I understand questioning it. I understand people's apprehension, the fact that you have to say 6 million, you have to say 6 million. But one of the statements that triggers me, and I don't get triggered often, but like saying, "I don't care about your dead grandma," or "I don't care about your dead." Like, these people are still alive. You know, there's people that survived it that are still around to this day. I think that's a bit insensitive, and even a lot of people in my chat would disagree with that. But imagine going up to a black person and say, "I don't care about your dead slave family." I think it's the same thing.
Okay. Um. Jeez. Damn.
Geez, what? Your factory game?
No, just
Um, distance myself from, like, a lot of people don't want to associate with me anymore. It's been it's been by far the most wild year of my life, and part of like that first conversation was like the first domino. But to end up here now, it's like anybody in your chat too. Can you like imagine being in that position? Like, what's your end of year reflections like? You've been streaming for a long time. Is this been an abnormal year? Or is this regular?
I mean, every year gets a little bit more crazy than the last. It's just kind of how it goes. What do you? I'm just curious, and I'm not like saying because I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you think I'm wrong and I think you're wrong, which is fine.
Sneeko shit. Yo,
Yo,
Sneeko ended up fucking took a crazy path in the year in review. If we're gonna year in review this, Sneeko went down some crazy ass fucking path, man. Did I think he was gonna get off of YouTube starting 2022? No. You can check in the last channel, knee high low. You know, plug that. I ain't even. He was just doing his thing, but he was getting crazier and crazier. More exciting, and then just like that, it was over. But he did start bringing a new thing to the space, so I'll give him that. I'll give him something. Sneeko brought some to the space that wasn't here before. He brought people coming into the discords left and right, coming into each other's spaces instead of just, oh, we're talking on the internet instead of doing videos like that. Why don't we just talk on the Discord? He brought a new little thing, a little slice of life. Thank you, Sneeko. I appreciate that.
What do you do personally to like keep yourself from falling down just like a really bad hole of like, fuck, I might be completely wrong on everything? And like realizing that like too late. Do you ever worry about that? Or do you ever think about that?
No, never. Wrong about what?
Anything, everything?
Name what's one thing that you think that I could consider being wrong about?
It's not so much like disagreeing about a particular thing. So like for me personally, one of the biggest fears that I have in life, because I'm a streamer, so I have a fan base that has a vested interest in, and I could have a vested interest in having a certain political opinion, right? Have you ever heard of the term audience capture?
No.
Audience capture is like, let's say that I give a whole bunch of like ultra blue pill takes like all day, every day. Well, what's going to happen is my audience is going to come to expect me to say that. And so what if I run into a problem in the future to where like I want to give a political take about something and I don't agree with the blue pill shit, but now I feel like I'm forced to because like my audience wants me to. Yeah, that's called audience capture.
Oh no, I have that all the time. I go back and forth in my chat. My chat's saying like Walaban, W Taliban, Whitler every single day. I had a Jewish woman on yesterday, and like the chat was just a lot of it's trolling because Rumble's a free speech platform, so people are able to say whatever the fuck they want. But like people are, you know, being like like she's a Satanist, she's the devil, she's a succubus, and I openly disagree with them on that. But I think it's good to have back and forth. And I don't think that's ever going to happen because part of my brand is being able to learn and to add information, to go back and forth, and to change my opinion about things. I like to actively grow and learn on my streams. I don't see myself getting myself boxed in there, and I don't think I hold any like hardcore. If you look like to the core of my beliefs, it's like I try to follow God, and I don't trust people who want to control me. So our first discussion was about how much we trust the government. You trust the government, and I don't. Ultimately, my worldview is down to the fact that people who want to keep me controlled, and people who want more money do not have the best interest of the population in mind. They want us to be controlled, and they want to keep us as pawns. And I don't see myself ever changing that belief, because that just makes sense if you look where the money goes. That's where you find the truth. If you follow the money, you could see where the truth lies, and I don't see that ever changing.
Okay, so do you mind if can I ask you a hard question or hard questions? Yeah, I'm not. This is gonna sound like I'm grilling you, but I'm truly just interested.
Okay.
Do you believe me when I say that, or do you not believe me?
About audience capture?
No. That I'm like, because there's two ways, and I can understand, especially at this point, because of how different we are, especially politically. Like, you can either think I'm asking questions because I'm interested, or you think I'm asking questions I'm trying to get like a dunk from my audience to like.
No, I think right now I think you're genuinely interested. This is like a.
Okay, yeah, gotcha. All right, just curious. Okay, so this is like a problem that I have from my perspective when people usually say this thing like, oh, we just need to like, I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions. That's like a really common thing that I hear a lot. Okay. I think that just asking questions and doing your own research, I think that those are two things that are actually really good. I think those are amazingly good things to do. But the issue that I run into is that every time people talk about like doing their own research or asking questions, they don't actually do any research. They just kind of like listen to like a podcast person, or they just like take somebody's word for it, or they watch like maybe one YouTube video. That's like highly.
What's your definition of research? Like academic articles?
Sure, like reading a variety of articles, like getting a variety of news sources, like seeing like, well, what does the mainstream, what does the alternative media have to say, what does a historian have to say, what does an expert have to say, what do people on the ground have to say, like getting like a variety of sources.
That's what I do. I professionally interview people. I interview people on the street. I have debates with people regularly, people like you, people who believe in antidepressants. I take in a lot of different information. I challenge my beliefs consistently, way more than the average person does.
Sure. I guess my question is like in regards to, because the thing that obviously is blowing up for everybody is like the Holocaust related stuff. If people want to be critical of the Holocaust, I'm like, well, I don't know, like, do we just have to believe every figure, like, without anything else? Like, is that really how it's supposed to go? Doesn't that seem kind of shitty? And I agree that it could seem kind of shitty. But, like, have you ever done any, like, actual real additional research on the Holocaust? Where you're, like, breaking open a book or, like, watching, like, a documentary?
I've read books. I've watched a lot of documentaries. I cross-reference the stuff I learned in school and different historians. There's even a lot of people that say that I'll talk about a World War II historian that I read, and then people be like, that's a bot historian. You need to read this guy. And then I'll check out this video from a different religion. You have to, yeah, I do.
So, okay, so then here's like another hard question. And if you don't want to answer any of these, by the way, you don't have to. Okay, so I'm not trying to like make you like blah, blah, blah. Do you think that like, I'm just trying to, because I know what Fuentes' believes on this. Do you think that like 6 million Jews like actually died? Do you think that number is massively overinflated, or that it's about right? Or like, do you have any opinions on like number of people that have died in the Holocaust?
Okay, here's my answer, because I don't want to get put on a no-fly list, but
sure.
There's no way.
Wait, never mind. You don't even have to.
No, I'll answer. I'll answer. I don't want to get a no-fly list. Like but what I can confidently say is there's no way to know like if it's gas chambers, how are you going to be able to count who's counting 6 million corpses? It's impossible. There's no way to actually track that. Just like in any other war, in any complete genocide, there's no way to actually know how many people it is. And just the fact that they say it's 6 million, no more, no less, is a very weird number. And the fact that like you're called a Holocaust denier, if you even question that number, it sets off alarm bells in my head. So it could be a lot more, it could be less, but like actually 6 million, there's absolutely, especially if it's gas chambers, there's no way to know that. Who's doing the tally marks?
Okay, so this is a good example of what I'm talking about. So I think that question is a really good question, but I think that that's like the very first question that you would ask. So then my question would be, do you know how they tallied up the dead people? Or have you not looked into like even that most big, because I'm only going by earlier, you said you'd watched documentaries and you'd read multiple books and you'd consulted multiple historians. Do you know how they came up with the numbers of how many people died during the Holocaust?
When it comes to World War II, there's different information for all of this. I've heard every single side.
Okay, but like, doesn't it seem like that should probably be like a pretty basic like answer in terms of like, well, how do we know how many people died during the Holocaust, right? Like, it feels like that would be like the first thing that a historian would probably go over, right? World War II, to my understanding, is the most studied historical event in all of human history, bar none. World War II is the most studied event. A lot of historians, it's still relatively modern, you know, getting into like lots of sophisticated record keeping, a lot of different actors involved. Like, World War II is insanely well studied. Do you really think that 6 million number is just like pulled out of nowhere and nobody's really thought about it?
Of course, people thought about it, but like even now, just article I pulled up.
Those are
it's
my
like
feelings.
saying,
Cut that thing.
and this is encyclopedia.org.
Kiki,
Says
do
towards
you
the end of the war,
love
Nazis
me? Are you
attempted to destroy
writing?
much of the documentation, and of course, there's so many conflicting ideas, and there's so many different personal interests with all these countries. The entire world was remapped after World War II. There's just, I don't think there's any way to ever know.
Wait, hold on. The entire world was not remapped after World War II.
Okay, that's an exaggeration, but all of Europe was remapped.
All of Europe was not remapped after World War II.
Pretty much.
Pretty sure most of the original border. Now, there were a couple of countries that got cut up in the southeast, but it's not like France and Germany and the UK and like Italy and all these countries like redrew all of their fucking borders.
Okay, a good part of Europe was remapped after. My point is that there were so many different interests from all these different countries. I don't think I can't be convinced by any, like, what historian. Everybody has their own personal interest. Who could you trust? From what nation? Everybody has different biases when it comes to this. Who could you actually trust when it comes to this?
A consensus of historians working across multiple countries to like figure out what's going on, right?
And then the Alex Jones people will say like, okay, but historians from all different countries are trying to push the globalist agenda, so they're going to push one specific narrative. There's
but
no
the
way
Alex
to
Jones
know.
people, how many of those people are like speaking German and then digging into historical archives to figure out like what happened historically, during World War II? Like, are these real people that have done real research, or are these people that are like screaming about like a Twitter post that they saw, right? Like, wouldn't you weight that differently? Like, a lot of World War II historians, especially those who deal with the Holocaust, it's kind of like doing like moral philosophy. Like, they speak German. Like, nobody will take you seriously talking about deontology. You can't fucking read Kant like in the native language, right? And it's the same thing too, I think, for a lot of World War II researchers. Like, a lot of these people will actually read German because they want to read the original documents relating to a lot of the historical events that they're going over. And you would compare somebody that's like digging through archives to like Alex Jones, who's going on like Twitter headlines, who's never seen an original World War II document or read a primary source about any of this problem in his entire life?
Yeah.
Or like, I guess like a question would be like, what evidence could possibly convince you otherwise? Oh, and then also, I would be careful here, as weird as this sounds, I wouldn't want to slander Alex Jones here because Alex Jones fucking hates Nazis, and he absolutely would not be on board with like the Holocaust.
I'm not slandering Alex Jones.
Sure. No, well, I don't want to, because it sounds like we're using Alex Jones as an example of somebody that would deny the Holocaust, and I don't think Alex Jones would. I think Alex Jones is a pretty big
I'm not even denying the Holocaust. I know the Holocaust happened. Just the baseline point is that they stick
but
to
your
exactly
idea
6
is that,
million.
sure, do you think the Dresden bombings were about as bad as the Holocaust?
No, probably
Or
not.
have you heard that talking about? Okay, because that's the talking about. Like, it's never a full-on denial. That's like old school. That's like stupid, like old Nazism, right? The new neo-Nazi talking points are like, well, no, of course the Holocaust happened, but there's probably like a few 100,000 Jews, not 6 million. How could you even know the numbers? Could the gas chambers really run that fast? If you were trying to bake 6 million cookies and you only had 11 ovens working full time, where are the smoke clouds? Weren't the doors made out of wood, right? Every single one of these points is addressed by historians if you take the time to like read any of it. But it feels like a lot of people don't actually take the time to dig through it. They just say like they do their own research and then they don't. I guess like ordinarily it'd be kind of like a whatever meme, like I don't really care much. But like when it seems like anti-Semitic rhetoric in the United States is like on a huge upswing, and then like people like you are kind of like being responsible for driving more of it. I don't know. I just think it's a little bit sad.
You think I'm pushing anti-Semitism?
Yes, absolutely.
What part of what I said is pushing anti-Semitism?
When you say things like, I think that the number of Jews killed during the Holocaust is grossly exaggerated. That's an anti-Semitic.
I didn't say it was exaggerated. I'm saying there's no way to actually know. I didn't say that it's less.
So you think more than 6 million Jews could have been killed?
I think it's impossible to strictly determine that it was 6 million. I didn't say more or less.
Sure, I can tell you why it's anti-Semitic, right? If it's impossible to know, why do we use that number?
I mean, it's very effective at silencing any anti-Semitism. The ADL and all these.
Yeah, okay.
I really don't want to get debanked, but like that.
Sure, I know, but that's it. So that talking point is anti-Semitic, right? The idea that Jews are leveraging the Holocaust in order to shield themselves from criticism, that's an anti-Semitic talking point.
That's not right? That's just true. They use that. They use the Holocaust to silence anybody who has any criticism towards Jews, and you don't see any other race. And I constantly say that black people should be able to do the same thing with slavery, and they don't. Jews have used that to become stronger. They use the Holocaust to completely prevent that from happening again. It's not anti-Semitic.
Okay,
it's smart.
hold on. Firstly,
it's smart
black
that they
people.
do that.
First of all, black people do use that. Okay, we just had the whole fucking BLM riots. Okay, I don't know if you remember those or not. So black people in the United States absolutely do talk about their history as well.
I don't know if that was black people that were benefiting off of the BLM riots.
Okay, it was BLM, but regardless,
there was more black violence during BLM than there has been in the past.
Okay, that's fine, and there are more people that defend Jews than just Jewish people, right? There's white people too, right? So, like,
I defend Jews all the time. I defend.
Don't you think it's possible? Don't you think it's possible that one of the reasons why they want to like keep reminding people of this is so that you don't like slip back into that anti-Semitic world?
Exactly.
That Jews have but now you're doing it. We're not agreeing. You're saying that they're using it as a shield from criticism. I'm saying maybe they're just bringing it because they're worried that like another fucking Holocaust might happen.
I mean, it comes from the same place. They don't want another Holocaust to happen. They've used that to band together and become stronger.
No, those are two wildly different claims.
How?
Saying like, hey, don't forget this because I don't want to get fucking genocided again is a lot different than saying like, they're using this to increase their power so that they can have Israel be the rightful ruling country of the world.
Okay, it started with that, and now it's very useful in having ultimate power.
Ultimate? What is the ultimate power?
Silencing any criticism and shutting people up as soon as they criticize. As soon as they say anything. Ye said DEFCON 3, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people, and then they completely look at how much power they have now because for so many decades they've said 6 million, 6 million, 6 million. They got to the point where they could just shut you out like that.
If I were to tweet out like I'm going DEFCON 3 on black people or trans people,
you will be fine. You will be fine. Ye said slavery was a choice.
Wait.
Several years ago, nothing happened.
First of all, no, he got a ton of heat for that statement. I don't know if you're not.
He got dragged on Twitter. He didn't get debanked. He didn't get all of his. He didn't lose his Adidas deal. He didn't lose he didn't lose his bank accounts.
Yeah, because that was a random statement.
They just called him dumb.
He lost his Chase bank account shit was gone before he even made those fucking yay statements. He lost the Adidas deal, sure, but the Chase shit, he was talking shit about that bank way before he made any public statements for it. I'm pretty sure he was talking shit about the entire executive team because they weren't treating him how he wanted to be treated. But regardless of that, yeah,
Chase Bank was after the DEFCON 3 statement.
Google it. I don't want to do every single story with you, okay? But Google Chase Bank drops yay, and that decision had been made because of comments that he'd made about that bank and the executives prior to any weird Nazi shit. The Adidas deal, I'll admit that the Adidas deal was lost, but the statements that he started making about Jews were even more extreme than the statements that he was making about black people in slavery. So, I mean, like, that's not that surprising. I don't
How
think
was it more
Jews
saying slavery was a choice?
Did you even have you even listened to Kanye's comments about that?
Yes.
Okay, what did he mean when he said that?
Saying that when you're enslaved for that long and you continue in that place, then eventually it becomes a choice if you stay enslaved after a certain amount of time.
Close, kind of, yeah. What he's saying is that like slavery becomes like a state of mind, essentially, right? That
exactly.
like you can
after a certain amount of time, you get used to it.
You can get locked into these mental patterns, you know. So those statements,
you don't lose your Adidas deal for talking about any other ethnicity, any other religion.
No. But if he was out here saying like black people deserved slavery, or like slavery was fake, or I don't think it happened, or whatever, or like black people should be happy they were enslaved in America because now they got to come and live here, and it's way better than living in Africa. If he would have said shit like that, he probably would have gotten
fired. You can't equate that to his comment. He said, "I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people." That's not all
he said. He said, "I loved Hitler." He said he didn't believe in the Holocaust. He said the Jewish people control the media.
That was after all the cancellation.
Okay.
I Love Hitler and everything was after the cancellation. Saying, "I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people," that was what got him banked.
Okay, I just want this to be entered in the record so when people go and fact check, because you're wrong on this. I know you're wrong on this. But you can say it clearly.
I Love Hitler was far after.
That statement. But do you think that I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on the Jews? You think that's the only anti-Semitic statement that he made for Adidas to drop him? That was the only one that he made. Because it wasn't. But I just want to hear you think. If you think that, you think that's the only statement that he made.
What else do you think it was?
He was on
I
Drink
don't remember,
Champs.
but he was doing a lot of weird like.
He was on Drink Champs, and he said, "I could say anti-Semitic." Hold on, Destiny. Hold on, because you know you like to speak fast and shit like that, and you don't know what's going on. He was on Drink Champs and shit like that, and he said that Adidas can't even drop me, and I can make anti-Semitic comments. Adidas won't drop me. That's what he said, and then they dropped on the next day. That's. Yeah, that's what happened.
He's like, I'm not going to say who did it, blah, blah, blah. The Jews.
Nah, Red Media was after. That was after. The DEFCON 3 tweet was the first one.
Okay. Did he say like, I can say anti-Semitic shit and Adidas won't drop me? Was that before Adidas dropped him?
That was before Adidas dropped him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to go back and look at it, but I know he made more statements than just that one tweet.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, anyway, what else is that? Where have you been? Have you been like traveling back and forth between here and LA a ton lately?
No,
Hey,
no, I've been in Miami. I want to talk about this eventually, but like,
Yeah, you don't have to reveal anything. You're good. You're good.
yeah, it's there's a lot that I want to talk about eventually, but I just don't want to. It's really weird, like meeting him after all these years.
Listening to his music for so long.
Yeah, and all that. It's there's so much that I want to say, but I don't want to, you know. Yeah, it's it goes. It's
Oh, that nigga weird for real.
definitely. There's nobody like that I've ever met. What do you think he's autistic?
Jesus. He's something. Wait, where do you are you allowed to say where you live now in Miami? Or like I moved to Miami Beach, so that's why I was just curious.
Yeah, I live in Brooklyn.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so okay, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know, or manic or something. I don't know. He's something. He's something. But he thinks people only say that to him to try to lock his mind away. So I don't know.
A lot of people they do try to handle him. He tweeted out like how they were trying to take away his children. I've never seen that amount of pressure. He's been like very transparent about how Hollywood tries to control you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have. Chappelle's talked about that a lot too, right? That was his whole thing for leaving and everything.
Yeah, did you even notice when he did that SNL speech, he gave out that statement before, like just making sure he was reading that piece of paper saying, before I get into this, I love Jewish people. I'm not a bad person.
That was a joke.
I don't think that was a joke.
Yeah.
I think he said it like it was a joke in a Chappelle way because everything he says sounds funny, but I think that was genuine. That was him covering his ass.
No, that was genuinely a joke because he kind of sort of almost covered for Ye a bit during that fucking stand-up routine. That was definitely a joke. Yeah, for sure.
What do you say that covered him? The Jewish mafia part?
He was making jokes about like, I'm not saying every Jew is blah, 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 but if you go there, they might all be Jew. Like he was making like a lot of kind of like backhanded jokes like that. Like, I don't think he was 100% in disagreement with.
He also wasn't completely defending him either. He was just mostly doing like observational humor. He did a good job of playing both sides and getting the liberals in New York City to clap for him.
Sure. Okay. Hold on, RTBA. Oh fuck! I need an account. Do you have to copy paste what do you want me to say? RTBA? I don't know. Okay.
All right, man. Enjoy your factory game.
Thank you.
What time do you think you're going to be done streaming?
Fuck, I don't know. Melina doesn't get back till like really, really, really late, so I'm not sure. Yeah. But I'll shoot your text when she's here if you want to go out. We'll see if we can do something.
All right, cool. Make sure to use a good picture of me when your editor clips this up.
Tell August he's listening. Okay, August. Yeah,
August. Like he's gonna make a picture of me looking like completely like manic. Like Sneako's anti-Semitic. I don't think I've said anything anti-Semitic. I'm genuinely not an anti-Semitic person.
I know you're saying you're not, but like just as one more time for like maybe 3 people in your audience, I guess, to get this understood or whatever. The reason why Holocaust revisionism is considered anti-Semitic is because people usually claim that the Holocaust is either grossly exaggerated or entirely fabricated.
I didn't say it was exaggerated. I've never said it was exaggerated. I don't care.
But you're playing defense.
You should care. No, you should care. If you're going to call me anti-Semitic, you should care about that.
When you say things like, how could we know the numbers, right? You're essentially...
But you could say that about any war.
Okay, hold on. No, you can't say that anywhere because there's census numbers. There's registrations. There's logs of people entering and leaving camps. There's records of train cars full of people. There's census data from before and after. There's reports from family. There's all sorts of ways to track people. They're not just like throwing darts at a board. There's tons of different ways. And if you do a little bit of research, you can stumble upon all the different ways that they track people. If you really care about it.
History is written by the winner. And
no, that's not true. History is written by historians. That's why there are negative things recorded in history about the United States of America, even though the United States of America has won the vast majority of its wars. That's why in the United States, even though we're the victors...
Where's the Nazi historian? Where's the Nazi historian who was part of that and then has now written logs about what happened. They got wiped out, or they're in Argentina.
They haven't gotten wiped out. There's plenty of people. David Irving was a huge writer trying to vindicate fucking Hitler's record, and that dude ended up going to court trying to sue people over calling him a Nazi, and he lost on the facts when his shit got reviewed. So no, there are historians even today, and he was a guy that dug through the archives and went through records and read original fucking shit in order to figure out what he's saying. No, there's tons of people today. There's tons of historians. Like, a lot of topics are debated hotly among these academic communities.
I know, but just listen to how even if like just me questioning the amount, I get labeled anti-Semitic by you. Just questioning the amount of people is anti-Semitic.
The problem is that you don't understand, like, you just don't understand what asking the question is like. Like, you understand you can do a lot of, like, damage by asking certain types of questions.
Asking the question is anti-Semitic.
Okay, if I were to walk around and
is
I were
that
to
what you're
ask
saying?
Like,
are you saying asking a question is anti-Semitic?
It can be part of it, yeah.
That's absolutely insane, and that's how free speech dies.
If I were to walk around, no. You're the one killing freedom of speech, okay?
Where?
Because you're not asking real questions. You're playing word games. Because if you were asking real questions, like, how do they know how many Jews died? You wouldn't even ask me that. That's a Google search away. That's literally 2 minutes of reading. But you haven't even done that. So you're not really asking questions. You're making points, and you're disguising those points with question marks. And that's why people are claiming it's anti-Semitic. Free speech died not when we can't ask questions.
I never said it was exaggerated.
When people pretend to ask questions and bad faith actors destroy the discourse. Then we can't have free speech anymore.
You're assuming by me asking a question that I'm making a statement that is grossly exaggerated. That's never what I said.
But you are.
And I genuinely don't believe that.
Do you think that it's the case that maybe
Merry
more
Christmas,
Jews died
bitch.
in the Holocaust?
Merry Christmas. This is what we're going through.
What do you think is more likely? More Jews or less Jews?
Oh my God, bro.
If Jewish people are using this story to drum up support for Israel and Jewish people across the world, would they exaggerate it? Or would they underplay it?
I don't think there's a way to know. And then I am not leaning on either side.
Okay.
You have a good PR team, buddy.
Anything else you want to go over?
Merry Christmas. W Jesus. W Jesus in Destiny's chat.
And you know what? Hey, happy Hanukkah if you celebrated it, okay? Have fun, buddy.
Yeah, happy Hanukkah, Lahan.
Okay, see you later, bye.
All right, bro.
That's it. Your job?
It's a sneaker. It's sneaker.
What up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things
this
YouTube
is for
channel.
real.
And thank you for 100 episodes.
Ported roughly 500 other final Shield back to Security Suite log have responded knowing Virtual Shield 1 is looking out for you. Virtual Shield is available for Android and iOS mobile devices as well.
Thing about me, well,
Also,
Jury and Queen, I'm here to I am just here to relationship. I'm not just going for anybody. But yeah, that's how it is.
Auntie Jenny here, 54. I'm here to cut out the bullshit. Simple.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
Thank you, guys.
Bet you do.
Yeah, well, you have to cut the bullshit. That's the problem with the world today. It's too much bullshit.
And they're not direct. If they've got something to say to you, just say it.
Why are you being mean already?
I don't really care. If you've got something to say, just say it. Don't beat around the bush. Just say it.
So basically,
if I've got something to say,
I already got my
just
team
say
mate.
it. Just say it.
100%.
Hey, Auntie, I beg, give the girl a chance to speak now and relax.
What girl?
Hey,
What have I said?
this one.
What have I said?
I'm addressing the elephant in the room, innit?
Listen, I don't believe in no elephants in the room.
yourself
If
up,
there's something to say, just say it. Don't beat around the bush. If you got something to say to me, I am here. Talk to my face. There shouldn't be no elephant in the room because this ain't no zoo. You understand?
Hey,
So if you got something to say,
Ooh,
just say it.
Dawson.
We're all big, no, I'm just saying, we're just all big people here. So if I want to
Okay.
say something to you, I'm going to say something to you straight like I normally do.
Yes.
If I've got something to say to Esther, I'm going to tell Esther. Whether she likes it or not, I don't really care. Andrew Tate, my son's older than him, so I don't give a damn who he is. I'm going to just say what I got to say. So whoever don't like it, that's tough. Don't come. You
You
shouldn't
missed
be
out,
here.
Brittany. I feel picked on.
Okay, so
And Brittany too, right? Even Pearl too. Feel better now.
yeah, Auntie gave me Auntie was yelling at me in wife school the other day. So she doesn't give a shit. Okay, so my first question is, what is the number one problem facing men today, and what is the number one problem facing women today?
I can say something.
Come on, ladies.
Everybody's
Everybody's
got
going to educate me.
The number one problem.
Answer all the questions. Come on, tell
The
me.
number one problem with men is that they don't tell women the truth, and the number one problem with women is that they can't handle the truth. Simple.
That's a good paradigm to start from, because it's actually very interesting you say that. A lot of women say, I just want a man who's honest. And then the second you're honest, she's like, what? You did
Exactly.
what? It's like, well, then don't ask me for honesty. Of course I fucking lie.
Thank you.
So that's a good point. I agree with that one. I don't think it's the biggest problem, but it certainly is a problem in relationships today. That is a problem. The biggest problem with men today is that I think the world is becoming hyper competitive. Most men are not aware and understanding of how quickly there's going to be a genuine shift in between those who have things and those who do not have things. Not just finances, but also female status, everything else. And it's a status game, right? And it's becoming harder and harder for men to play. And that's all women's fault, of course. But it is, because women choose the winners, right? Women choose who the high status males are. So women pretend to give a shit about men. Of course they don't. They give a shit about themselves. And a woman, if you ask her what she wants from a man, she's like, I don't want much. I just want to find a nice man who's a millionaire and 6 foot tall and funny and charismatic.
I was talking to my friend the other day. She said, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? She didn't say something similar, but she was saying, like, you know what I'm saying? Both the man and the woman should get the money. You know what I'm saying? It should be equal, but if she had the chance, and if the nigga was making the more money, and she could just chill, she's just taking the nigga, bro. Come on.
And interesting and spontaneous and looks after me and doesn't cheat and it's funny.
Not in no bad way.
I don't want much.
Tap
They
in, man.
name all this shit that most dudes are never gonna have.
Gotta
And it's
get
becoming
tapped
harder
in.
and harder, and you end up with people, top G's, who own everything on the planet they could ever possibly wish for, and then you got other guys who have nothing, and there's this large divide. There's no longer any middle ground. You have dudes who can't get any pussy, and then you got dudes who are just blocking girls left, right, and center. And that's what the problem with being a man is today.
What about the women?
What about
Well,
Should I say the problem
I
with
would
women
say.
is? I'll tell you.
Well, everybody's got a chance to talk.
I'm gonna shut up and have my clementine.
No, I want to know. I want to know. I want to learn from you, sir.
You want to learn from me?
Well,
Yes, sir.
I wanted to answer. I feel like it goes for both. It's not just one or the other. I feel like it's self accountability.
Definitely.
Women are not accountable for themselves. I agree with you there.
Why
0%.
just women though? What
It's
about
both.
men?
It's
Yeah,
both.
It is
definitely both.
It is both. You're right. But society punishes men for not being self-accountable. But society does not punish women for not being self-accountable. I'll give you an example. If you're a man and you're arrogant and you think you're something when you're not, trust me, society will teach you very quickly that you don't matter when you don't get laid and you stay a fucking brokey. If you're a chick and think you're something when you're not, you can run around with your ego, still get dates, still get laid, still have a fairly sensible social life. Society as a whole doesn't come along and slap you in the face with realizations. If you're a man and you think you're something you're not, it is a ticking time bomb until society teaches you a lesson. That's the difference. This is why men in general are more self-accountable, because the men who are not self-accountable get fucked up. So those who are successful are very self-accountable people. They look at themselves and go, okay, the only way I'm going to get and progress further, the reason she left me, the only way I'm going to do better, make more money, et cetera, is I have to change. Most women don't want to do that. They don't sit and think I have to change. They think, oh, he left me because it's him, and I lost my job because my boss, and this is this because of this. No, you women don't look in the mirror and change a fucking thing.
No, because don't forget what you're forgetting right nowadays. They can't change it because it's all about body positivity.
Are you
They
saying-
can look sexy at a size 28.
Are you saying Lizzo's not a 10?
Are you guys trying to get me canceled?
See, I'm not gonna
I was
agree
trying to talk
with
to my
what you
boys
just
about
said,
that.
because 90% of cosmetic surgery
Because
is
Lizzo's.
by women. Women are trying to change as much as possible. Men don't want to change. They're not accountable for themselves. They think that because they're a man, you're gonna be attracted to them. No, like you can't be fat. You stay at home. You're just playing video games, and you expect a woman to want to fuck you. No, she's not gonna want to fuck you.
Yeah, but then she won't. This is the point. And And then she won't, and society will teach them a lesson. They might be able to pull off a little blag with a girl for a year or so, but in general, they're going to end up lonely. In general, they're going to struggle to find partners. I agree with you with the cosmetic surgery thing. Women are happy to change their appearance and change how they look, but they're not happy to change how they act. Most of them, they're not happy to change. No, they're not.
The women are changing what the men don't care about. The men don't care about the big old lips.
Yes, they do.
And no, they do it. The women are doing that for themselves.
Yeah.
Because the men don't care about it. The men would rather a woman change her stinking attitude than put on all that makeup and hair and everything. That's what the men want. But the women will go out there like, oh, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that. If you look at a man and the man said, yeah, he's fat. The man will if he's feeling bad about himself, he wants to make sense, he'll go and hit the gym. What's the woman going to do? Go and do? Get a BBL, get her lips done, put on her makeup, put on her hair, and stay the big old fat person that she is and say, oh, it's body positivity. The men don't even want that. And the women are not getting all this cosmetic surgery for the men. They're getting it for themselves. You can't turn around. What man wants a woman that's going to turn around, go and have an operation, and can't sit on a plane because her arse has been injected or been interfered with? She got to lie there on her stomach. Do you think the men want that? Or wake up in the morning before you got to hit the house, she's got to put on. I'm sure I worried about some of the men because they must go out with a woman. Ooh. And then when they wake up in the morning, they think, who the hell is she?
The scars,
by the time you take everything off, women need to change their attitudes before they change their makeup. I'm sure that even more than that, change your attitude. Because women will go out there and they would want to change this, they want to change that. All the things that don't count. If you learn same way how women can go out there and learn to put makeup on, learn to cook, learn to wash by hand. Learn to please a man.
That is so outdated,
that's what you need to do.
That's outdated, girl.
She said, girl.
That's outdated.
She's right.
For who?
I'm saying it's like we had literally just talked about this off camera when you guys picked me up from the airport. When we were talking about what's the value system or the point system for a woman who cooks versus a woman who can suck good dick and fuck well.
But you can cook and suck dick as well.
No, but I'm saying is that Pearl, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but quoting her was that. When she interviewed people on the street, that there was more points given to something for like a sexual return as opposed to wash dishes by hand. There's a dishwasher. Why cook? We can eat out. There's a chef. People don't give a fuck about that.
That's what they think.
But but we literally just talked about this yesterday.
No, it was okay. I did a street interview and I asked the guys, would you rather have a girl that gave good head or a good cook? And most guys
want this.
But I think that's
for
more,
the quick satisfaction.
But I think that's more for like a one night stand.
But what I'm trying to say is that if all the women out there and they're talking about, well, some of the women want to be settled down. They want a man, right? And you got to think what the man wants. The man are interested in that. Look at when you're doing street interviews, you're interviewing single people. Look at the people there that are happily married and ask them what they do. Because all the things that the women out there are doing, you can be a housewife, you can be going out, you can suck head just as good as any old tramp on the street. And keep your man and have a man. And I can say that because I'm 32 years in counting.
Auntie, you can't say attraction's not important though. You can't say attraction is not important though.
It is important.
For you to get initially, exactly. A man is not gonna find you attractive and then think, oh, because you can cook well. It's got a chef.
A man's gonna find you attractive and he's gonna.
Let's ask Andrew.
Andrew, would you be with a girl that's 5 out of 10 because she can cook?
That ain't what I said.
Oh, well, firstly, that's not what she said, to be fair. And secondly, I'd be with a 10 out of 10 who can cook because I'm top G. But to make the point, I think what you have to understand is what men are looking for in a relationship. So you did the street interview and you're asking single people, probably young people, probably idiots who know they're on camera talking shit about good head, all this garbage. It's bullshit. What men are interested in life, not just in their relationship, but in their life as a whole, is status. I don't think most people understand, especially women, how competitive the male world is and how competitive it is for status. This is why men do everything they do. Men buy the faster car, not to drive any faster, because of status. It's why we want a bigger house. We don't give a shit where we live. It's because of status. It's why I want to go to the gym and get big and strong, because of status. Everything we do is about status. It's why I want the better jobs. It's why I want more money. It's why I want to be respected. So what's the number one thing we want our female to give us? Status. That's what we want. So she can give us status by being beautiful. That's one thing she can do. But another thing she could do is if I turn up home and I come home with my boys and she says, I'll cook you all a steak. That's status. That's all my boys going, Ross, you just been out all night and she's here and she's going to cook for all of us and she'll clean up and tidy up. Boom. That's the kind of girl a man's not going to want to lose because it makes him look good.
Without
That's
complaining.
what men want. Status. Suck a dick, blah, blah, blah. Listen, dick can only be sucked in so many ways. I mean, no, let's be serious about this.
Have you had the Gok 3000?
No, this is actually a serious point, right? This is a very serious point because the Western world has collapsed in real time and it's a failed society. And one of the reasons it's a failed society is because of the over-sexualization, especially of females as a whole. If a woman comes up to me and goes, I'll be the best sex you ever had, I am fucking revolted. I don't want the best sex I've ever had. I want you to be pure and a virgin. You should know what sex is. Cook my fucking dinner. Shut up. Don't come and talk to me about fucking sucking dick. It's vile. It's disgusting. I don't want to hear that shit.
Can I say something?
I don't want to hear that shit. What I want is a woman who makes me look good. No woman who's running around talking about sucking dick can make me look good. So I lose interest completely and utterly, and that's the truth. So what she's saying is completely correct. These are old school things, but it's not about the act. Yes, you can order food, of course. It's about the status that comes with it. That's what it's about.
Sagittarius spoken like a true one. That is true.
My man's a Sagittarius.
Listen,
my man's a Sagittarius.
So basically, it's a straight shooting sort of conversation. But I think that sometimes we get distracted and we talk about the bicker of between men and women. I think that the problem that men and women have is the consequences of the bad decisions that the 1% of powerful men make on our behalf, because our problems are on a societal level less than between woman and man. That is why there's a lot of competition between men, this chase for status that they will never get.
Why is that the fault of the 1% of men?
Because they're the ones that drive the machine that runs this. The West
It's always been that way.
Yeah, but then think about the men that are at the top now, the corruption and everything that's going on. And this is why it feels very good to sit next to somebody like you and just say, do you know what? I appreciate that you say things that are really true. You expose a very toxic truth and a very true truth as well that is out there. But the reality is, on the trenches, when you go to the grassroots, people don't feel the way that you feel. It's not as simple as what you say. They are victims of this system. So my job here is really not to try and make it about men and women, is to make you understand that actually we need to start changing the narrative.
You don't want to make it about men and women because
they're both messed up on either side.
Because then women look bad.
No, because it's about everybody together. Women have their traumas, men have their traumas. I'm not here to fight against men and women. That's small.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But the idea that this 1% of men have created this terrible society. Yeah, I talk about that. I talk about the Matrix. I talk about these things. But it's always been this way. It's always been a small elite group of men who are in charge of the world. And unfortunately now, we're fighting battles in different ways. The days of old, a man proved his worth by going to war. Basically, every man at any point in his life was going to end up going to war, and he came back victorious. He came back with honor. He got himself a wife. That's how it worked, right? Now men don't have to go to war as much, depending on where you live in the world, and it's slightly different. And we fight our wars in other ways. And one of the true expressions of testosterone and trying to really express your ability and your combative ability now in the modern world is power and influence. So in the olden days, you'd go to war, you come back with a ribbon. Nowadays, you got X amount of followers, you can move the world with money. I can bend reality with money. Please understand, if I walk into Jimmy Choo, they lock the door. No brokies allowed in. Tate's here. And I buy whatever the fuck I want. There's lines outside because I'm there. I bend the world with money. That's how the wars are now won. So you're talking about high status males, and it's always been that way. Now you have a whole contingent of men who aren't dead. Okay, they didn't die in a ditch, but they're lonely as fuck jerking off. And that's the reality of it. And women don't give a fuck about them. And why should you? I'm not sitting here actually shitting on women in any way. I think women have a biological instinct to a degree to try and find the best mate they can because it gives them the highest chance of survival in the harsh realities of the world. And if they look at a man who's not capable, they just don't feel an attraction to him. And that's the bottom line of it. And that's why I'm largely misunderstood. I don't blame women for a lot of the problems. Women are guilty of certain things, but I have a massive amount of blame to place on men because there's so many men who are genuinely incompetent. If I was a chick, I wouldn't fuck these losers either. Like, they're losers. So it's hard out
Balance. I love it.
Do you know what I don't understand? Why people always going for the 1%? All the women want to rush for the 1%. Why don't you just find a regular 9-to-5 person that's going to look after you? You can be his queen. Why can't you just do that? Why is everybody really rushing? I've got a man. We don't go on social media. If it weren't for Pearl, I want no night about social media. 9 to 5. I've got our own property. 32 years. Happy as Larry. What is the problem? It's not old-fashioned. It works.
No, Auntie. Let me clarify. When I meant 1% is not the 1% of attraction. I mean the actual people that are in charge of the things that run the world the way that
what I'm trying to say is that it's always been an umbrella we've lived under.
But the difference
functioned underneath it. So why is it going to affect me?
I'll explain why. Because as Sir Mr. Andrew King Tate said,
like that.
I want to know what she's after.
I'll have this on after this point.
Yeah. Go home and dry that now.
Wait, it is. I've been drinking lime juice as well. So as he very rightly said, society has now evolved. Before men went to war, now men don't go to war. So there's a lot of sense of no purpose that they need to find. And then on the women's side is that the same way that a society evolved and made men feel less purpose, they have now had to take on bigger purposes. They have to go to work like they didn't have to do before. They have to take care of the family and work and do all of these things and now deal with the fact that men are feeling a little bit like out of,
rubbish. That ain't what I'm saying. You get a 9-to-5 person, right? What is wrong with you going out there, find a regular 9-to-5 person, right? You can function underneath that because I'm always hearing the women say, "Oh, we ain't got enough money. We ain't got enough money." Work with what the man's got.
You're right.
Work with what the man's got. You can make a man your alpha. Everybody wants to go and find these top earning money. Find a 9 to 5, work regular, save your money, learn to cook and not have takeouts, and then save your money as they did before.
Then you should direct this to the men that feel upset because they're not like Andrew
There's
Tate.
always direct something to the man.
No,
Why?
but she's completely right. I'll tell you this. There's not a girl on this panel or on the planet today who couldn't walk outside and find a man who's going to be nice to her, loyal to her, and make her his queen. Women don't want that. So they'll sit there and go, "No, I want Chris Brown." And then they'll go try to get Chris Brown. Then Chris Brown will cheat. And they'll be like, "I can't believe he cheated. I am devastated." Well, what the fuck do you think's going to happen? If I go to the car garage, right, you have to make a decision what you truly want in your life. If you truly want to just find a man who's going to look after you and take care of you, you're going to be his queen, he's going to be loyal, you can find that all day, but you're going to have to settle to a degree where a lot of women perhaps are not prepared to do that. You see how women act. They'd rather chase a fraction of a real G's time than have 100% of the time of a fucking dude who they don't respect at that level. And it's kind of like going to a car dealership. You walk in there, if you want reliability, you can get a Nissan. But if you want to get a Ferrari, it comes with headaches. It's going to come with problems. So when girls say to me, "Oh, you know what, Andrew, you should be loyal to that," men like me don't have to be, and you know that. So why the fuck are you here trying to tell me what to do? Because you know I don't have to be loyal, and all the girls I'm fucking don't have to be loyal. So why are you sitting there pretending you expected me to be loyal when everyone knew from ground up day one it was never going to ever fucking happen? And you're still here.
I think
you're still texting me.
They're going to be the one that changes you.
Well, no, yeah, of course they are.
That's the biggest mistake that girls make.
Whose fault is this? This is the female decision. They sit there and decide, "No, I want this. Cool, then you're going to have to accept he ain't going to be loyal to you. He's barely going to reply to you. That's the game."
They like being cheated. I swear to God, this show has made me believe. I think women like to be cheated on.
I don't.
I swear to God, no, because all y'all ever talk about is your exes that cheated on you. That's all y'all ever talk about, and
Who?
it's like
only
that's
talks about that? The regular women that are on here.
The women that come on the show.
Oh, good thing I'm irregular and extraordinaire.
But do you not think it's because we're not holding men accountable? So when a man, because he's a top G, cheats on a woman, it's like, well, what do you expect? When you should actually turn around to him and
Accountable
say,
for what? Accountable for his natural evolutionary biology.
Is cheating morally correct?
Yes.
Depends.
Yes.
How can you say that? Are you joking?
Okay with your woman cheating on you then?
Absolutely not. That's haram.
No, because
it's around when she cheats on you, but you can cheat on her.
There has not been in the history of humanity across any culture, any book, any story, any fable, there has never been across the history of humanity any respect put on the name of a promiscuous female ever. Ever. You name the biggest conquerors that you can possibly name from history. Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, all of them. They all had 100 wives, bunch of children, big G, conquered the world. Normal. That is normal evolutionary biology. That's how men are designed to be. There's never been a single female who's been celebrated for her promiscuity ever in history. It's always been frowned upon and disgusting. So yes, we are completely and utterly different. Yes, it's different if a woman cheats on a man. And if a man is at a complete top level of his life and ticks every single box, and if he decides to be loyal, which some do, and I can be loyal, and I have been loyal, but there's also times in my life where I think, fuck it, I don't want to be, and get a new girlfriend every single day of the week. I can do that, and I can decide to do that. If a woman decides to do the same, purely because her value is high enough to attract so many males, because she's beautiful, for example, it is completely different. And I'm going to explain to you why it's completely different, so buckle up. It's different. It's different. It's different. Well, I'll tell you why. It is impossible for a female to be promiscuous on a long enough period of time without devaluing herself, because she is fucking people she shouldn't be fucking. There is no way she is sleeping with endless men, and all of them are either high-value men or treating her the way she should be treated. If you find a woman who slept with 50, 100 dudes, she's either fucking dudes which aren't at her level or haven't worked hard enough to try and get the pussy. She was just too drunk to realize he's a loser who plays video games. Or she's fucking a top G who barely texts her back. So either way, she's fucking dudes she shouldn't be fucking, or a guy who's at the level who doesn't give her the right amount of attention. For a woman to find a guy who's truly on a level, who truly treats her the way she should be treated, that's once every couple years, if that. You ain't just gonna go out there fucking a new dude every week and say, yeah, he's worth pussy. Yeah, he treats me good enough to get my pussy. Da-da-da. And you know what's funny about the universe? It's actually beautiful about the universe because it's equal and opposite forces. When you devalue yourself, it's kind of like men can smell it on you. They can just look at a bitch and go, oh, And that's the way it works. So you have to be very careful as a female and sit and go, does this man truly deserve to fuck me? And if you think about it, the answer 99% of the time, especially if you're promiscuous, is no. So when a woman is sleeping around with all these men, she's devaluing herself. She's devaluing herself, and the world knows, God knows, the universe knows. When a man does it, he doesn't devalue himself at all. That's just the way it works.
Can I ask you a question? Wait, Esther, 1 second. Sir, may I ask you a question? What would you say if a woman now is married to 2 men?
Haram.
Why?
No, I'll tell you why. Let's talk about this. What is the difference between a man, let's say me, I have 4 wives, right? What's the difference between a man having 4 wives and a woman having 4 men?
You can impregnate the 4 wives at the same time.
You can impregnate the 4 wives at the same time, and we know who the parents are, right? So let's say you had 4 pregnancies, you know who the mother is because she's carrying the baby, and you know who the dad is, top G. If you had a woman with 4 men and she gets pregnant, who's the parents?
What about if...
But no, I'm asking.
Okay,
do you know?
I ask, what if they're different races? One white, one black.
You don't know. Answer the question.
You don't know. Now, modern science can come along and maybe fix that for you, but that doesn't mean it's not wrong in the eyes of God. The idea of having a family, the idea of a child being born, one of the baselines for a new life to come onto this planet is for at least to understand who the 2 people who made it are, at least. If you have a woman fucking 4 dudes, you don't even know who got her pregnant.
So may I just say...
disgusting.
Have you seen the twins that had 2 different dads?
Oh yeah, I saw that. May I just say something then? So if that is the case, yeah, if the one thing that you're meant to have is you, at least you know who the 2 people that put that child on earth are, then that's why promiscuity for men is also a problem, because they get women pregnant. Sometimes they don't even know they have children. That's haram, no?
No, it's completely different. It's different because you have to understand, I'm talking about humans. You look at humans from a societal perspective, but society has changed, right? So let's say 200-300 years ago, if a woman got pregnant, she needed a man to survive. If that man didn't take care of her during pregnancy, she was going to die. She couldn't work a job, she couldn't hunt, couldn't fish, whatever, right? A woman literally needed that man for survival. So if you were to come to me and say, I'm pregnant, but you've been fucked by 4 different dudes, I'd be like, who says it's mine? Why am I looking after you? None of them want to look after her. She will literally perish. This is why in most of the world today, still today, virginity is so coveted, and throughout all of history it's been so coveted, because that's the only way to ensure paternity. She's a virgin, I know that's my baby. She ain't a virgin, prove it's mine. Outside of this modern science bullshit, shaitan, the devil we have here in the West, in most of the world today, without virginity or at least a low body count or at least anti-promiscuity, you can't tell that that's your baby. So it's a completely different thing. You're looking at the idea of a woman being pregnant and coming to a group of men and saying, one of you has to take care of me and put up with me when I'm fat and moody and annoying and I need my bills paid. And all the men are going to sit there and go, no, fuck no, prove it's mine. You can't prove it, bounce. Where it's different. If I get 4 women pregnant, we know the deal.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So obviously back then for survival, women needed a man. Otherwise, when they were pregnant, they could die and all of these things, they would perish. In today's society, given evolution, given the fact that as women we can go and get, yeah, but I'm not saying that. Isn't there a glitch between what is actually happening and the nature of what we have in our bodies? I think that's probably the conflict that we're having right now.
Glitch in what way?
In the sense that women don't feel like they need men in the most physical sense, perhaps naturally.
It's very interesting. Women don't feel like they need men in a physical sense because life is soft, but it's bullshit. And it's bullshit because you still need men by proxy, 1, and 2, the second life gets difficult, you very quickly learn how much you need men. But women will go, I'm independent, I don't need no man because I have an OnlyFans and men pay my OnlyFans, and if anyone comes up to me, I'll call a male police officer. I don't need men. Shut up, you fucking idiot. Of course you do. You just named your whole life is based on fucking men. The road you're driving on was paved by a man. The house you're living in was built by a man. The car you're driving was designed by a man. Your whole life depends on men. And the second anything bad were to happen to you, the second you were physically threatened, or times were to get hard, or war were to start, or famine, or riots, the first thing you do is find a big strong man, shit yourself, and throw the feminism out the window. Feminism goes out the fucking window the second that the snow needs shoveling, or there's a fucking broken down car, or the tire needs changing. Then all that crap vanishes. It's garbage. And this is the very interesting thing. I'll make a point here, which is going to get me canceled again, but I don't give a fuck. But this is the point. Feminism in and of itself can't be defended. The point of an idea is that it can be defended by the people who believe in it. This has been the whole point of war since the dawn of time. It doesn't matter if it was the Christians against the Hindus. It doesn't matter if it was the Germans against the French. There were people who had ideas and ideologies, and they were prepared to fight each other to defend their ideology. Feminism is an ideology which cannot be defended by feminists. The only people who could defend feminism are the men who subscribe to the garbage. If all the feminists were to get in a line and say, we want feminism, and the conservative men were to get in a line, you would learn very quickly it's bullshit. I had a friend in Afghanistan when Taliban kicked America out. And he told me, the Americans were telling the girls they could go to school. So they built all these girls' schools, and they put the Afghanistani Defense Forces there, and they funded the Afghanistani Defense Forces to protect these schools. You had American satellites, you had night vision goggles. Taliban were afraid to attack. America leaves. Now you have Afghani Defense Forces. They're basically blind. They don't have satellites anymore. Don't have night vision, whatever. So now it's a real war. The men are standing next to this girls' school. The Taliban are coming. You're some dude. You're standing there, and you're looking at this girls' school going, I don't really give a fuck if girls go to school. Bounce. And you didn't fight. So that's why they all gave up and Taliban took over so quickly. And when I said this, the girls like, yeah, they should have fought for us, feminism. Why don't the women fight?
Can I ask?
Oh, wait, the women can't defend their own fucking idea. You need men to defend feminism. So that's why the whole thing is stupid. Because the second men don't defend it, it just fails as a fucking ideology. It's garbage.
May I tell you something now? So this is the thing. This is when we assume that women perhaps don't have the physical or even mental ability to go to a war. Wait. Because this is the thing. For example, in Ukraine, a lot of women took up arms. And in fact, I'm Angolan. I'm Angolan. I'm Angolan. And
don't lie
listen,
to the people at home.
Wait, don't worry. I'll talk by my